Pistol red dot concepts. Do you adhere to target focus rather than sight focus concept? If so, how long did it take for you to get that down pat? Well, I'll be honest with you, it's taken me forever because I still have to continually train myself not to look at the shiny red dot in front of my face. And I think I probably will forever.
Yeah.
But we are both target focused shooters. That's one of the major benefits to using a red dot on your pistol. You can truly continue to take in information while you're aiming. So from a tactical standpoint, it's way better than any type of sight focused aiming scheme. And you know, there are people that are very accurate and very fast, some competition shooters that shoot red dot focus. We don't necessarily agree with it, and would suggest that you train yourself to be a target focused shooter. The biggest training aid that I found for that is putting painter's tape over the front of the red dot. It forces you to look at the target. There's no, I mean, you can still remain red dot focused, but it's going to help you get out of that habit. What do you think, Zach?
Man, what I would have paid in 2016 for someone to tell me to tape the front of the sight when I put my first red dot on, like I said, that M&P earlier, I would have paid a lot of money for just someone to go, hey, dude, tape the front of the sight and like just dry fire, you know. So it would have rounded off my learning curve a lot.
Yeah, I totally agree. I would suggest even if you're an experienced shooter who's been shooting a red dot a long time, try it and see if you're actually target focused. Because I thought I was target focused for like 10 years, and until I taped it, you know, I was not. I truly wasn't. So if you're target focused, are you looking over the red dot if it's taped or through it? So basically, if you imagine you're looking through a tube and you put tape over the front of it, that eyeball, your dominant eye, and this is just a very simple, you know, visual representation, can no longer see. But what it sees is the red dot, and this eye, the non-aiming eye that's not looking through the sight, is going to be looking at the target. What your brain is going to do is going to superimpose or merge those two images together. So what you're going to actually see inside your mind is that the red dot appears on the target, and you can see the full target. It's a pretty cool little trick. So you just got to play with it, but it kind of like superimposes the image, the red dot over the image of the eye that can't see past it. So you're not looking over it; you're looking directly at the target, and you'll see. It's kind of hard to explain. Am I explaining that one properly? You got a better way to say it, Zach?
No, 100%. And then when you do it wrong and you're dot focused, the target will disappear because you can't see. So like anytime you see the target disappear, you're like, where did the target go? It's because you're looking 3 feet in front of your face at a blocked image, right? So you gotta, it's just, you know, it's just an optical illusion, right?
Yeah.
That's all you're.
It's pretty cool. So put some tape over it and practice that at home. You'll see. It'll make more sense as soon as you do it. So what level would you say LE should be at in terms of USPSA classification?
I'm not afraid to put a label on this at all.
Okay.
I've set it for a C class.
Okay.
I would like every cop in America to be able to be presented with any functioning classifier in USPSA and say, all right, go ahead and shoot it. And for them to be able to do it at a C class level. And I think a lot of people look at it and go, Jesus, cops can't shoot. A C class shooter can shoot a gun pretty good.
Yeah.
C shooters, when they shoot a match, will go through with no shoots and no misses. Maybe a couple misses on small steel at 15 or 20 yards, but a C-class shooter has a very good understanding of how to move around with a gun. Would I like them to get higher? Yes, but I'm also realistic that everybody should be a GM. Stop. Not everybody in your old unit's a GM. Not even close.
No.
Right? B-class would be awesome, but for the overall standard, I think C-class would be outstanding for LE, and we are not there yet. Not even close.
What's a reasonable time for, say, a guy picks up a pistol and he gets some good fundamental training? What's a reasonable time for him to be able to progress to be a C-class shooter, in your opinion? Amount of time? A month?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think if you went through a police academy with a valid course of instruction, that's 90 to 100 hours, 80 to 90, 100 hours of training with a pistol. And if it's focused on handling and safety and accuracy and speed, and you sent them to set up classifiers for them, they would shoot probably right at C class. And many of them wouldn't, There's some people who just don't get it in life, or are disinterested or not interested enough to understand that that's a valid part of their job. They just want to get through it, and this is all I got to do. But that's a personal issue, not a training issue or anything else. There's no commitment, so there won't be any results. But yeah, I think a month. If you had a brand new shooter and you had a month of training with him, and he had dry fire homework and a couple hundred rounds a week, they could go shoot C-class.
Okay, that's a very reasonable amount of time. I think, yeah, I'd love to see like a test bed for this, where a department's like, who actually runs it, takes someone through the academy and then puts them on some classifiers and really quantifies capability, as opposed to just a normal traditional LE qual.
We do sort of. I know Pistolero's in here and his academy does the same. We have recruits that are shooting B and A class on classifiers, and we have some that are shooting D. Like, it runs the gamut, but we have some that are doing very well.
That's awesome. The best drills to run for building CQB capability. And I think this question is in reference to like building block steps to get to where you can actually start training at CQB. What do you think on that, Chris?
As far as shooting goes, or just movement?
Shooting. And I think, shooting would, incorporating movement.
Yeah. Pure raw fundamentals and handling just on a line with other people, then handling while moving alone, and then handling while moving in a group in the open. You don't need to complicate it with fake doorway. I don't believe you do with doorways, but let's make sure we're all comfortable managing our muzzle, being aware of our fingers in a group. Then we can start going inside dry and work our way up from that, and be humble enough to admit, hey, maybe we all should be dry for a couple of these runs, and maybe we don't hot right off the bat.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And then, really when we're range training, so we're really working on fundamental marksmanship drills, the fundamentals of marksmanship. I don't do a lot of CQB specific shooting. I build up a bunch of baseline fundamentals and then I apply those in the shoot house. So, exactly what you said, I think, is the same answer that we would use. We're looking for, we'd like to put the fundamental marksmanship, the fundamentals of shooting on autopilot almost. We want to be extremely proficient with those, to where when we get in the house, we're not worried about accuracy. We're not really concerned with the ability to hit the target. That's almost a foregone conclusion at that point. And that's the level that I want to be at, to be able to truly soak in all of the tactics training.
No, I agree with you. It is the basics, literally.
Yeah. Always.
How do you maintain good rifle shooting performance while moving fast or laterally to the target? So really this has a lot to do with vision and where you're looking on the target. So maintaining visual focus on a small spot on the target, even as you're moving, is super important. And another thing is use your natural shock absorber. So bend your legs, bend your knees, get a little bit lower to target, and kind of roll from the heel of your foot toward the toe. And I like to imagine, like, if you're walking to your deer stand and you don't want to crunch leaves, you're trying to transfer the weight slowly. It's the same thing. You're just doing it fast, that same motion. And the big thing on that is you just got to practice it. It's not that difficult to shoot on the move once you've done it a million times. Level of accuracy to be achieved when moving towards or lateral to a target. This is in reference to shooting on the move. At CQB distances, you should be able to keep those shots within inside probably a 5-inch circle. So kind of that, the upper A box is around 6 inches. So something like that is a reasonable, like acceptable level of practical accuracy. If you're outside of that, you need some work. So anything inside of, let's just say 10 yards, you should be able to keep, while moving with a carbine, you should be able to keep your rounds inside of a 6-inch circle. Regarding low percentage shots inside of a room, do you prefer to hold high on the target or use the bottom of an EOTech reticle for a point of aim, point of impact? I know my CQB mechanical hold off, and I've trained myself to hold high. The reason I do that is if I switch over to, let's say, a micro, an aim point, and it only has a single dot, I know that the hold off, and if you've trained long enough, it just becomes intuitive. And so that's another reason, and this kind of spills over into another thing that we'll talk about, those extremely high mounts that people are running now, where it's like almost a 4-inch height over bore. Your mechanical hold off during CQB is 4 inches, which is a ton. So it's not necessarily the preferred sighting system, in my opinion, for anything where precision accuracy is needed up close.